Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Hello and welcome to Toronto and to the Prospectors and Developers Association of Canada's International Convention, Trade Show, and Investors Exchange. My name is Glenn Mullen, President of the PDAC. Bonjour et bienvenue à Toronto. Bienvenue au Congrès international, au Salon professionnel et au Forum des investisseurs de l'Association canadienne des prospecteurs et entrepreneurs. Je m'appelle Glenn Mullen, Président de la PDAC. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the homelands of the Mississaugas and the New Credit First Nation and of all the Indigenous nations that have lived on these lands over the centuries. This is the world's leading convention for individuals, companies, and organizations from the mineral exploration and mining industry, and we are delighted that you are joining us this evening at the media reception. For 85 years, the mineral exploration and development community has considered the PDAC convention the premier annual event to network, conduct business, and gain valuable insight into the latest technologies, opportunities, and personalities shaping the industry. It has also become an important venue for public policy discussions concerning the minerals industry, and we are pleased to host members of government, not only from across Canada, but from around the world. Last year, we hosted over 22,000 attendees from 125 countries. 22,000 came to the PDAC in a down year. 125 countries attended our convention. More than 250 accredited media who shared numerous stories across many platforms. As we are joined here this week by representatives from around the world, we can certainly appreciate how global our industry is. As PDAC's president, I've had many opportunities of traveling to various countries and have witnessed how the work we do positively influences the economic and social prosperity of many nations, particularly more so even here in Canada. Canadians are leaders in exploration and development, and as we celebrate our country's 150th anniversary this year, that is something that we can all be very, very proud of. For those members of the media who are covering the convention for the first time, prepare yourself for a truly international cross-section of all that the industry has to offer. And if we can do anything to support your reporting and coverage, do let us know. For those who are returning, welcome back and thank you for covering the convention once again. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the Honourable Jim Carr, Canada's Minister of Natural Resources. Minister Carr has been a dedicated business and community leader in Winnipeg for more than 30 years. He began his career as a musician, an oboist and trustee of the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. He then moved on to journalism, working as an editorial writer and columnist with the Winnipeg Free Press and also with CBC Radio. Minister Carr entered public life in 1988 when he was elected to represent Fort Rouge in the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. Minister Carr was also the deputy leader of his party. He later went on to become the founding CEO of the Business Council of Manitoba, where he worked alongside business leaders to address issues critical to Manitobans and Canadians. In particular, Minister Carr was one of the architects of the Winnipeg Consensus process that brought together Canadian think tanks and energy leaders and informed the Canadian Energy Strategy released in 2015 by Canada's provinces and territories. Please give a very warm welcome to Minister Carr.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. Well, thank you very much for the warm introduction. We last met only a few weeks ago in Mexico City, where we signed a memorandum of understanding with the Mexican government on the mining industry. So it was appropriate that we meet there on behalf of Canada, and I'm very, very excited to be back at the PDAC convention. When people talk about how many delegates there are, they say 20,000. And that's a slow year. I can imagine a year when there are 25, as there have been. And also to begin by acknowledging that we are on the territory of the Mississaugas, of the New Credit First Nation. And you hear community leaders and political leaders say that almost all the time now, and they say it for a reason. And the reason is that it's an acknowledgement on the tremendous lesson that we continue to learn from First Nations people about the relationship to the land, the air, and the water, and how sacred it is. And it's not something that starts now. It's something that we have inherited back 7 generations with a responsibility to pass on a cleaner planet to those who come later. So it's important that we, especially who have an interest in mining and mineral development, to acknowledge what has come before and our responsibilities to leave the planet a better place. And I also want to thank the Prospectors and Developers Association of Canada for their wonderful hospitality again. It's been a year since I walked down that very same corridor into this room. And I was only a few months into my role as Canada's Minister of Natural Resources. And as I reflected, walking down those same steps, how the world has changed in those 12 months since I spoke to you last. There have been elections around the world. And there will be many more elections in Europe over the next number of months. And in our own country, so much has changed too. But it's comforting to know that you have the solidity and the reliability of the mining sector to offer a kind of a platform of stability while things around us change. That seems to be one of the pillars of economic strength and development for Canada. And the work that you are doing here at PDAC is invaluable work, and you're doing it well. Je désire également féliciter le PDAC de ses remarquables efforts pour la promotion d'une industrie minérale responsable, dynamique et durable à l'échelle mondiale. Son travail est inestimable et elle le fait vraiment bien. And this year, as Canada celebrates its 150th birthday, it's fitting to pause and pay tribute to an industry that's older than Canada itself, an industry that has helped define our nation and shape our people. Recall the impact of the Klondike Gold Rush, helping lead the way to developing our north and the creation of a new Canadian territory. Fast forward, we have seen the Yukon White Gold District emerge as a hub for significant investment in mineral exploration projects that will bring jobs and economic growth to the region. Important discoveries in the development of nickel, iron, diamonds. By the way, I have just come from the Manitoba Room. I knew it was the Manitoba Room because there was a buffalo staring at me in the mural. That there has been a major diamond discovery in Manitoba. And it was just announced 10 minutes ago, and I'm sure we'll all be hearing a lot more about it, and that is very exciting. Gold, uranium, copper, diamonds, nickel, iron have led us to opportunity and prosperity in communities and regions right across Canada. Canada's minerals industry has long been an engine for social and economic development, leading the way on open geoscience, new green mining technologies, community engagement, Indigenous participation, corporate responsibility, and world-class expertise in services, supplies, and equipment. It's an industry built on foresight, ingenuity, entrepreneurial spirit, and hard work. And today, mineral exploration and mining is just as important to our economy and the lives of Canadians, accounting for $56 billion of Canada's GDP and 19% of our exports. Canada's minerals industry directly and indirectly accounts for more than 560,000 jobs across the country, including employing more than 10,000 Indigenous peoples. No wonder Canada keeps winning international awards, including Mines and Money's Best Country and Best America's Country honors, and recognition of its international leadership in mining governance. And that is a recognition that was confirmed again just last week, ready for this, when the Fraser Institute ranked Saskatchewan and Manitoba first and second on its annual Investment Attractive Index. Next year, Manitoba will be first, and I will be having important conversations with my colleague Ralph Goodale about the methodology of the Fraser Institute. And I'm particularly proud of Manitoba's performance, not just because that's my home, where I was 3 hours ago, but because it climbed 17 spots to finish right behind our friends to the west. When the world wants to talk about exploring for minerals or mining, it comes to Canada. We are global leaders in the sustainable development of mineral resources. Our government is determined to keep it that way, which is why I'm announcing an important measure to support Canadian mining. The 15% mineral exploration tax credit is aimed at helping junior mineral exploration companies raise the capital they need to finance early-stage exploration, which is vital to mining development and the creation of our mines of tomorrow. This credit helps to support the future prosperity of Canada's mineral industry. And it all starts with the flow-through shares that serve as an incentive for attracting potential individual investors to support grassroots exploration. In 2015 alone, more than 200 companies issued flow-through shares that were eligible for the credit, and more than 10,400 individual investors benefited from it. And though the credit is scheduled to expire at the end of this month, it is still needed to help this industry thrive. I am pleased to announce that our government is proposing to extend the mineral exploration tax credit for an additional year until March 31st, 2018. By extending this incentive, our government is supporting an industry that is recognized globally for its innovation, environmental stewardship, the creation of good jobs, and corporate social responsibility. As Canada begins its next 150 years, we're going to need this industry's forward thinking more than ever, producing the minerals and metals to drive the clean tech revolution, developing the innovative solutions to address climate change, and leading the transition to a lower carbon economy. La bonne nouvelle, les mineurs canadiens ont toujours démontré qu'ils étaient capables de relever les futurs défis, une attitude que je dois également féliciter. The good news is that Canada's miners have always risen to the next challenge, and our government is proud to stand with you. Thank you, enjoy the evening, merci, et bonne soirée.
Thank you, Minister Carr. You just made my night and many of our evenings, so thank you for that. And please have the gentleman with the Manitoban diamond come and talk to me. Thank you, Minister Carr. The PDAC and the entire industry applauds your government's commitment to renew the METC, Mineral Exploration Tax Credit, and maintain the flow-through share system. Such financing tools have propelled Canada to be a global leader in mining exploration and mining, and will continue to enable hundreds of companies to raise capital. We also appreciate you being here with us this evening as we begin the 85th edition of the PDAC Convention and celebrate the industry's contribution to the prosperity of Canada during its 150th anniversary. Before I leave the podium, I would like to acknowledge the support of our sponsors. I'm delighted to recognize and welcome back Peru, Ecuador, and Chile as mining company sponsors. Thank you. And if you're enjoying the wine, the spirits, and the food, also to our Diamond, Platinum, Century, Patron, Premier, Gold Plus, and Gold sponsors whose logos have been showing on the screens during the evening, we couldn't do it without your support. Please join me in thanking all of our sponsors who helped make the PDAC Convention such a special event. And yes, we're done. So in closing, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and please enjoy your PDAC 2017. Happy networking. Merci tout le monde. Bienvenue. Au plaisir.